Board of Appeals meeting on Thursday, May the 23rd, 2019. City all council members are present, city secretary is present, city administrator is present. Item 2 on the agenda is to approve minutes from the Board of Appeals meeting on May the 2nd, 2019 at 5:30.
Move to approve.
Lynn makes a motion to approve. Lynn second. Any discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed.
Move to adjourn.
Glenn makes a motion to adjourn. Rod seconds. Any discussion? All in favor? All in favor. 5:31, the meeting, Board of Appeals meeting is adjourned. It is now 5:31 and 15 seconds, and I am calling to order this regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Bandera on May 23rd, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. All council members are present. City Secretary is present. City Administrator is present. If you would rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Would you lead us in prayer?
Yes, ma'am. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us all together this evening. Thank you for your many, many blessings upon us. Thank you for this glorious day that you've blessed us with today. We'd ask for your prayers and our blessings upon this weekend, that everybody who comes to our city have a safe events, good times, and also a safe trip back home where they come from. Most of all, we'd like to thank you for your Son who died upon the cross for our many, many sins. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a consent agenda. Item A, to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on May 2nd, 2019. Lynn makes a motion to approve. Ron seconds. All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Item 5, discussion of possible action on the following items. Discussion of the rate study by Needs and Strategy. Is Matthew coming?
No, not for this.
Visitors to be heard.
Oh, I do that every time. Okay, visitors be heard. Sorry, visitors. Okay, first is Jane Ress. Where are you, Jane? We have a timer, and she's got it, so when it goes ding, ding, ding.
When's it starting?
Go ahead.
I'm here to talk about signs and banners. We asked to be placed on the agenda so you could respond, and we were denied. We don't expect the ordinance to be changed, reversed, or overturned. Our concern is the inconsistencies and discrimination involving the Code Enforcement Office. A couple of weeks ago, I scheduled a meeting with Mr. Horry to look at Jimmy's calendar to see how he was tracking the 14 to 28 days allowed for banner permits. We asked because we knew of one business that was given well over 28 days. Mr. Horry called me the night before to confirm the meeting. When I arrived for the meeting, he told me I would need to do an open records request. What changed overnight that I was no longer allowed to see the calendar? Was there a calendar? I did the open records request for all of 2018 and 19. I only received February 2019 to the present. How did they track dates prior to February of this year? At this meeting, I asked Jimmy about these things. He told me he would not answer any questions without his attorney present. Why would he say that? I know that I certainly don't need an attorney present to answer questions about the work I do. Since we had to do an open records request for logs rather than just being able to view them as we asked, we've now had time to study the logs. Out of 92 sign and banner permits issued since January 2018, we have found 40 issues. Perhaps this is why Jimmy refuses to answer questions. In the same meeting, we'll let him know of any sign or banner violators. Since April 26, I have informed him of 45 businesses in violation, and I'm sure there are more. These are just ones I've found on a couple of quick trips through town and on the main thoroughfares of town that Jay, Will, and Jimmy pass by every day. Why do I have to bring these violations to their attention? All these businesses were in violation while we were singled out in writing to not put our feathers up or we would face a citation, yet 45 businesses within a short distance from us have been, and more importantly, still are in violation. Will told me in person and via email he would update me. I have requested updates and have not heard from him. The job description states that they will receive and respond to citizen complaints. Why is the city spending money on a court enforcement office if they're not doing their job? Does anyone audit this department? I told Mr. Horry that Jimmy was showing favoritism. He said Jimmy was not. He told me that Jimmy was just giving them a break. Whatever you call it, giving breaks, favoritism, discrimination, it's all the same, and code enforcement has been doing it with dozens of businesses, and it's not right. We'd like a response on the 45 violations I reported.
Thank you, Jane.
I have copies, excuse me, too, for
Oh,
you.
I'm sorry, I thought you were finished. Thank you. Jerry?
In regards to code and law enforcement, citizens trust that our officers will show fairness and not discriminating against anyone for any reason. When code enforcement decided to not charge for permits or banners, he showed favoritism and he is giving away the taxpayers' money. Our money, not his. So he gets credit for being such a great guy by giving discounts with our money. This is lost revenue for the taxpayers and the city. And Mr. Horry thinks it's okay to give some taxpayers a break but not others. Mr. Horry is in charge of this department and seems to not be concerned with the lost revenue. Who is going to reimburse the taxpayer, us, for the lost revenue due to code enforcement not charging the full amount for signs and banners? Mr. Horby just received a huge $5 an hour raise after only 1 year, but yet he doesn't seem concerned with giving away the taxpayers' money. Mr. Horry stated that Jimmy was not showing favoritism, he was just giving them a break.
Thanks, Jerry. Rilla? Did you want to speak?
I just wanted to remind the council that the city has lamented the fact that we could not get enough people to come forward and put in applications for different committees or whatever we have. You've even advertised. This time, you had several applications. I would hope that you would think very carefully what you do and who you put back on, and look at some of the newer people that have come forward for a change.
Thanks, Rilla. And I apologize, guys, for skipping this. If you heard, I do that every single meeting. Okay. Item 5, discussion of possible action on the following items. Discussion of the rate study by Nugent Strategies. Jay, I would like to keep this discussion tonight to the rate study and outcome, and then we'll take up the solutions when we get into budget, unless you want to hit on them briefly. I don't want to spend a lot of time tonight talking about solutions.
What this is tonight is for y'all to take and do your homework. Questions, come by, call, whatever you need to do. There's 5 different options in here. Probably 2 of those are plumb out of the question. You may not even look at those, but that'll be entirely up to council. Matthew will probably be at the next council meeting. He might be Skyped, or he might be here in person. That's going to depend on his schedule. But look at this real hard and ask some questions, because this is a big decision we're going to have to make. It's going to affect everybody. And, to move forward with some of the projects that we're going to have to look at, we're going to have to do something with our rates. And they will not be going down, of course, but we can't choke everybody with rate either. So it's going to be a tricky little project here to go through. So I'm serious. Please ask questions, come by. That way we can get everybody on the same page, as what everybody knows what we're doing.
Thank you. Just, Council, for your information, one of the things that Jay had mentioned to me is that he's been working, trying to come up with some sort of formula for giving our senior citizens or persons on fixed income a break when we get into the next year. But we'll talk about that more in budget. So there are varied solutions, different ways we can go. So please take a look at it.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I know, y'all are gonna think I'm workshop happy, and I know, I'm sorry I didn't make it to the sign workshop that you guys had this week, but, would it be worth it to get into more detail with Matthew if we have a separate meeting dedicated just to this study and to more thoroughly reviewing these options?
Again, that falls into our budget process, and we're still like 6 months out of budget, 4 months out of budget. How far
Well, we're
out of
actually
budget?
gonna be starting going into
Do
budget
you want
next
to
month.
try to have a
But
workshop?
I would like for council to look this over very well, and then, you know, if y'all think we need to do that and bring Matthew in for a workshop,
Okay.
that's.
Or a
you know,
conference call?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And I would agree with Rebecca. I'd like to be able to go through it thoroughly and speak to somebody that is knowledgeable about what we're trying to do. And I know Jay is
You'll be here at
as
the
well.
next, you'll be here at the next meeting, either
Okay.
by Skype or by conference call, but please
Have your
look at
questions
this
ready.
and have some questions. Or let him explain whatever you need to do. Okay, anything else you wanna say, Jay, on that?
No, like I say, it's gonna be a long drawn out thing. It's not just gonna be an instant. I don't think it should be myself anyway, but as you go through it and see, I think you'll see it'll fall into place a little more. Instead of just throwing it at you and say, hey, let's do this, this, and this, let's raise rates, or let's, you know, extend different things. I think after you see through it, you'll start understanding a little bit more of the process that we're gonna have to go through to do this.
Okay, moving on. Item B, discussion and possible action on an ordinance amending chapter 1, general provisions, article 1.03, city council. We've gone over this a couple of times. There's one more change I would like to make, and I'm sure Keely would like to kill me. But if you look at the controversial page 3, 103.03, the placement of an agenda, item on the agenda, I would like to change C to say that any member of council, but that's gotta be submitted in a timely manner before, 5 o'clock on Wednesday, the week before the meeting. Because the way this reads, if Lynn wants to put something on the agenda, he's gotta get Lynn to agree, and both of them submit a report as why it should be on the agenda. I think that's ridiculous.
So
Yes.
it looks like the draft that I have, it says, huh?
I'm sorry, I'm just
Okay.
trying to get to where
It
you
says
are.
like, all items for placement on agenda shall be coordinated through the mayor and city administrator. The city administrator shall be responsible for coordinating items and supporting documentation for the agenda for timely submission to the city secretary.
Yeah, but we're talking about C.
B, oh, well, wait, B is that?
Now, B is about at council member, when we have requests for agenda items by council members,
Item C.
it wants to, yes, Glenn.
I think item C covers when, the mayor or the city administrator doesn't want to take a suggestion of an item, and then you can get another council member to agree to support it, and then it has to be placed on.
That's true, I hadn't thought of that particular angle in it, but I would like to put in here somewhere that any council member, and it doesn't say in here, any council member could put something on the agenda. It restricts
Well, I
it.
think item A covers
Yeah,
it.
and say, item A, it says all items, and really only the city council members, the mayor, and the city administrator can submit items for the agenda, is that correct?
That's correct.
No, you could have a citizen request an agenda
It
item.
has to come
But
through a
it still
council
has to
member.
go through a
or the
council member.
administrator or me.
Naturally, right.
Yeah, and that's what I meant, it has to go through a council member, the mayor, or the city administrator. Do you want it to be distinctive of the mayor, the city council, and the city administrator?
Well, one of the
On
things
A?
that you had questioned earlier is, it now says that it takes 2 people to put an item on an agenda.
Yeah,
So a way to clarify that would be to spell it out, but if you're happy with this and you are all in agreement that one
I just-
person can do it, I'm good.
I just want
Well-
to pause for clarification before we. Yeah.
Glenn has something to say here.
039038, okay.
Yes, sir.
Again, I think item C, is intended to override the rejection by the mayor. So I don't see, item A, you know, lets anyone, council member submit anything they want to.
Okay.
You have the ultimate say on it.
Well, if y'all see it that broadly, that's fine, but, you know, we've been hit by so many little picky things. There's, you know, it just says, in a timely manner. Some people might think Monday morning at 10 o'clock is timely if the agenda hasn't been posted yet.
Well, you have the ultimate say on the agenda. The city administrator can reject something, and you can override his rejection of it, and so
Well, it's all
I
happening
don't
this
see a
way,
problem.
it suits me. Yes, Bryce?
So B though, sounds like we need to consent another council member during the meeting on
the
items for
meeting.
agenda.
C relates to outside of the meeting,
Right, so,
which I'm just wondering how it's not sufficient.
so by B, that means if I bring it up during the items for future, I've gotta get someone else during the meeting to consent with it.
Request by council to place items on a future agenda under 6. That's what it looks like to me. And it doesn't make any sense, because if you wanted to.
I would think that any city council member could have an item requested on the agenda. I mean, it's up to the mayor and the city administrator to maybe put it off to when they think it's more appropriate, or if there's more important issues to be taken care of at the time, and then that be brought to the agenda on a later date. But I always thought ultimately it is up to the mayor and the city administrator, correct?
It always, yes, that's exactly what the government code. Yes, ma'am.
Unless it falls under item C, which
Right.
is like, okay, let's play, let's role
If I
play.
refuse to put something on the.
Suzanne will
then
not
you
put
and
my
you-
agenda, my item on the agenda, Lynn, will you sign this with me? So-
Yes.
And then it goes on.
Yes, sir.
That all falls under C.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
So the one piece that C does not include is the time restriction, Wednesday, 5 o'clock,
Right.
right? So we wanna add that language to C,
I would,
but not
it's on
revise
our-
all of C.
It's on our agenda request form, but
You wanna include
I
it?
would like to
I
actually get it
understand.
in
I
here,
understand that
you
too.
know?
That's good. I think that C as stated, I think that C is well stated, and I would suggest just add the time
The
restriction.
time, I'm fine with
Yeah.
that.
work?
I would say add from an agenda request form explaining the item, blah, 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 should be submitted to the city secretary no later than 5 PM on Wednesday of the week prior to the meeting. I think that should be included. That way, everything's for her in a timely manner, and she can get the agenda out and the packets together, and,
Yeah, the agenda item report prior to the
yes.
deadline for agenda items, which doesn't, you know, I mean, we could set that as a policy, I suppose, and not have to put it in the ordinance, but.
But let's just get it in the ordinance so everybody knows. That's what I think. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Lynn.
I think it should be included in the
One last draft, one more time.
sorry.
Any other questions about this?
So again, we're just adding the time restriction to the current language.
Yeah, Bryce.
Can we get a we're done with C, so I can move on to B, can we get a clarification on that? Yeah, it sounds like I have to get someone else to agree with me in the meeting to put an item on future agenda. Is that how it reads?
That is how it reads.
You know, I agree, I think this is too restrictive, and I would like to strike it actually, but Dan, tell us why we need to have it in there. I'm sure there's some reason why we should. But if I'm not mistaken, chapter 22 of the local government code simply says, when it comes to council meetings, the date and time and blah, 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 and the mayor, administrator, city secretary, and council members can put items on an agenda. And it doesn't say anything about this request for items on a future agenda, so, yes, Glenn.
Again, I think that when we get to the end of the meeting, the section where council members suggest, if you should object to it, say, well, no, I don't think that's necessary, then I think
Then it
that we could leave this in there where another council member could override your decision.
So interpret it to mean, okay, in order to.
Instead of addressing
in
it
order to
later on
force-
down the road, you
Yeah,
address
it-
it at that point in time.
In order to force an issue on the agenda that the mayor doesn't want on the agenda, these two cover those two items.
This could get
Well, and really, I'm glad that we have this written out like this, because prior it was 3 council members, and that basically required a quorum. And so the administrator or I, well, it wasn't with Jay, but we'd be calling everybody, trying to make sure that nobody was talking to anybody, and what do you think about this, what do you think about, because then you have that walking forum thing, so this covers that, and out of that situation.
So we're just gonna tidy that up to say if there's a discrepancy or dissension with what you want, then we need 2 people. Otherwise, we're good to go to submit. Cool.
That's the way I understand it now, so.
I should have talked to you before this meeting, because that's not the way I written that. But it makes sense of what you said. Okay,
It just needs to be clarified.
any other section of this that y'all have looked at that you think, yes?
Page 4, section B of section 103.040, citizens forum / public comment. I would like the 3 minutes changed to 5.
No.
Okay. I just think that I like to allow the public to speak a little bit longer, and it's only 2 minutes more. It just doesn't seem like, like 3 minutes, you're kind of rushing them. When they have 5 minutes, it seems like they might have a little more time to explain what they'd like to discuss with the city council. That's only my opinion. And then the other thing that I would like to bring up is audience participation. I know that can get out of hand, but I think that can also be controlled. I think that if you have the public that has a question during one of the agenda items, that we should call on them and limit their time. But I just feel like it's important for the public to have participation in the agenda items that the city council is discussing. I understand why you don't.
Well, I'm trying to explain
Okay,
why,
go
okay?
ahead. Yes, go ahead.
All right. If an agenda item has a direct effect on a member of the audience, but if the county wants to talk about the water rates, that ain't gonna happen. If somebody who rents wants to talk about property taxes, that's not gonna happen. If it has a direct effect on an individual, I'll be glad to hear from them, but we don't need to hear from people who have no dog in these fights. Yes,
So what you're saying is, say we're discussing the city rate, and we have a city citizen that lives in the city, and they raise their hand during that discussion in the meeting, that you may call on them to ask to give their opinion or participate in the discussion.
But I'm not gonna hear 15 people say the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just,
We're not
I feel like that
redundant.
we're not allowing that somehow.
So far we haven't had anything since, well, there's a few things. Well, we have workshops on all these items too, and the public is welcome at the workshop, and that's an opportunity. Yes, sir.
That's why we post agendas ahead of time, so the citizens can see what's gonna be discussed. And all of our contact information is on the website. They can contact the individual council members ahead of time and let their feelings be known. And while I had the floor, when we have people come up and speak for the 3 minutes, we need to have them identify themselves and their address.
Yes, sir, you're right, you do. I've been 2 likes on that.
Anything else? Okay, are y'all happy with this, except for a few changes we proposed? And on with
Are we gonna see the revised draft again before we?
Oh, yes,
Okay,
we
okay,
will.
okay.
Hopefully we can get it one last time. Okay, item C is the updated recommendations on the city logo concept. All right, Jill, you wanna explain this stuff?
Sure. So y'all have seen the logos come in your packet several times. So the committee got together 2 weeks ago, I guess, and we put all of the logos out there on the table. We all looked at them. There were 6 to 7 people on the committee. We all wrote our top favorites on a piece of paper, and it was a secret. So we came up with, after we counted all the votes and stuff, we came up with the top 3 that the committee came up with. Those are the ones that you see first. which is number 17, number 8, and number 19. And the committee came up with a few changes that they liked on those. So you're seeing the original logo that was submitted, and then we reached out to the artist that did it and asked them for updated with the changes that the committee thought would make the logo better. So that's what you're seeing on the second one, number 8. In the back, which would be that's the only one that made a change to it. So those are the top 3, those first things in your packet that the committee picked. But all the logos are in your packet that were submitted, that have been in your packet over and over. We didn't have any new ones come in except for the one after we extended the deadline. So the top 3 were, of course, this one, the original one, that was from way back when, Tall Tom, as I think what they call it. And then the number 2 for the committee was number 8. They felt like with the courthouse and all the small detail, that would be very hard to see on a shirt or in embroidery or anything like that. So they suggested leaving the Texas, leaving the established with the horseshoe, and just having the Texas be the flag with just a cowboy on it. So that was the changes to this logo. So that was the number 2 choice. And then the third one was this one. The committee felt like, and they did reach out to this artist, and they felt like the horse was not really appropriate for Bandera, but he didn't get his changes in. He was gonna try to find some different horses. So they felt like this one was very clean also, would be very easy. So those were the 3 choices of the committee. However, in the rules that you guys got originally, it does state that you do not have to go with any of the committee options. And you guys could go with nothing and keep what you have, or you could go with any of the other 20, I think we had 20 that were submitted. So that's gonna be up to council, and that's where you're at. Any questions?
Something you wanted to say?
I just wanted to, you guys are wanting a cleaner look so that you can put them on shirts and put them on letterhead and things of that nature, right?
It's rebranding, it's a really important decision.
Right, and the issues that came about didn't come about from the committee. They were from citizens, council, previous council, past council, not liking the upside down horseshoe and things like that. So the committee didn't say we don't want this. We just said if we're gonna get something different, let's make it something that we can actually, you know, put on shirts or put on the trucks where people are gonna look at it and know what it is. When you look at this, you know, there's a lake in there, there's a cow, there's a this and that. You don't know what it is. It's a blur because it's too much in the small thing. And when you shrink it down on letterhead, it's this big and you really can't tell what it looks like. So that's why we wanted to, and we put that in the original ad that went out to the public, the artist, that we wanted something clean that would be good in black and white as well as in color, that kind of thing. So, like I said, the committee came back with these 3, this one with those changes, and this, and, you know, on all the logos, the artists are not printed on here, obviously, so that's where you are.
I actually like number 2, proof number 1. I think it's clean.
Those are the changes that were made to that. They stuck with the same concept of the Texas and just changed up the idea in the middle. And then the artist actually made the changes and then submitted this back.
You took out the capital and put in the state of Texas instead. And the cow.
Well, they took out the courthouse. The courthouse was in here, but it's so much detail and so much small stuff that when you shrink it up, and yeah. So
What do you
there's that.
think, council? Yes,
I'd
Tom?
like to throw out an idea. If you look at 15 and 16, which are very clean, and I think would make an excellent letterhead, would you be open to the possibility of having two? One would be specifically a letterhead and documents, 15 or 16. I think would look excellent on a letterhead. And then I'm fine with the choice, the first choice, for banners, t-shirts, and something colorful that way.
My only comment is that I plan to consult with some people in marketing about branding. And I was hoping that we would have some time to look over the committee's recommendations and bring this back up.
And you do, this is update and recommendation only. If you read the agenda item, there is no action tonight.
Yeah, I like that one, but again, I'm just trying to see these shrunk down. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's no perimeters to them, they're just, I don't know, maybe if there was a border of some sort of rope going around it or something, you know, I don't know. A horseshoe. Again, council, just take a look at them and any comments tonight? Yes, Bryce?
When do you want these comments back to you? Are we set to meet again on this certain time?
Well, some of the artists, I think we put in the thing we would have it done by the end of June. So some of the artists are a little antsy and they call weekly. So I think that, you know, if you guys could look at them and then come back at the next meeting with each personal recommendation, because that's what we did as a committee. We said, I like this, and we didn't all agree. But we counted, you know, just like y'all vote, we voted on who had the most votes. So if at least y'all look at them and come back with your personal opinions, maybe y'all can also narrow it down. And then we can have at least runner-up, first and second, or whatever. And we even did look at some of them, like, we liked one a lot for t-shirts. We thought, oh my gosh, that would be such a good t-shirt. One that I didn't even say was in the top 3. So that could be an idea too, down the road, if we say, well, we want our t-shirts to look like this, you know, still with the Bandera theme, so. But the artists are kind of antsy because, you know, they submitted it, worked hard on it, so I think by the end of June, we should have closure on it. My personal opinion, I think that's weekly, but.
The number one choice of the committee is our Bandera flag, right? That's our official Bandera flag.
Right.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that that's our Bandera flag that we adopted.
And that would be really hard to put on stationery. I mean, we could do it, or.
But that was their number one choice.
Mm-hmm.
That was their number one choice, was this one right here.
About what?
But can you see it on a t-shirt? It was, like this, I mean, so like, our city, you don't wear this, anybody wearing this? No, nobody wears
Logo.
a t-shirt. A little shoulder patch.
Why would they make that their number one choice if they didn't think that it would be, that
Well,
that
that's
would
just
be
my opinion,
workable
Lynn,
all
I
the
don't
way?
care what they, that's just my opinion.
Oh,
You know, I don't care for it. I've never liked it as a city flag either,
oh, okay.
so there you go.
All right, well, let's go somewhere else, I think.
Any more discussion about logos?
Thank you, guys.
Excuse me one second, would you please go get me my phone, Jill, it's in the outside pocket of my purse. I don't have the, applications in my packet.
Well, I didn't put them in the packets again because everybody got them on email and 2 or 3
I
times.
sent my email, I don't have.
Okay, but if anybody wants them, I can copy them real quick.
Okay. Item D, review applications for appointment for members to the Economic Development Corporation.
I do have a copy up here of mine if you guys want to pass them around, or I can make a couple extra copies.
They're on their iPad.
They're on the iPads and they were sent out an email.
I've got my own.
Art, do you want to tell us the Board of
Does anybody have a copy of it?
Recommendations?
Yes, ma'am. The EDC board met last month, or no, this month in May,
Okay, thank you.
and you have 7 applicants. There are 3 seats available. The board has recommended that you reappoint Laura Davenport to her city seat. There is a vacant city seat that the board voted to appoint Tony Kuntz to, and there is a vacant county that must own a business in the city limits seat that the board voted for Sid Gibson. So Laura Davenport, Tony Coons, and Sid Gibson were the three voted on by the EDC board as a recommendation for you.
Thank you. And again, council, you can review the applications yourselves. You don't have to abide by EDC's recommendations, but I'd like to hear a motion from somebody. Glenn?
Well, I'm a little confused about how the agenda item is written. Okay, well, if you're still on D,
Yeah, we're on D. We haven't even looked at the applications yet. Yes, ma'am.
Dan rewrote the item as review, so item D is just reviewing them. And then item E is the action, because it's gotta be done in a resolution. So D, y'all are looking and reviewing, and then E is where you're gonna take your action for the resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. Have y'all all had a chance to look at these? I know they were sent out last week. Okay, then y'all were, yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Shane Brown.
Can you wait until we get to item E?
E.
It's
Oh,
all
okay,
messed
so
up
we're
now.
still in review?
Review
Okay, I'm
now.
sorry.
Okay, item E.
Okay.
Have y'all had a chance to review these applications? Okay, go ahead, Laura. Go ahead, Lynn.
So are we now at, E? We moved on to E?
We're on E. You may make a motion.
I make a motion to recommend Shane Brown to be.
Do you have a second? Do I have a second? Okay, motion dies for lack of a second. Lynn?
I would like to move to put Tony Coons on the EDC board.
Second.
Lynn makes the recommendation, the motion, Tom seconds. Any discussion? All in favor? Lynn, Tom, Rebecca, and Bryce in favor, all opposed? Lynn's opposed. Tony Coons is one of our new members, okay, next, Tom.
I'll move to reappoint Laura Davenport.
Second.
Tom reappoints Laura. Rebecca seconds. Any discussion? All in favor? Lynn, Tom, Rebecca, Bryce in favor, all opposed? Lynn opposes. Laura? I need a motion. Unless you choose to only appoint two tonight. There are three positions. There are
I
county
make the
positions
motion.
still open.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask a question. I don't know what the requirements are for how many are actually business owners. I know you said one was a county seat that owned a business art. On the whole board, what is the mix of business owners versus non-business owners?
There are no requirements.
There's no requirements.
No.
Oh, I thought the one.
The only requirement is the county, there are 2 county seats available. They are not required to be county seats. They can all be city members, but it is allowed by law in a county of our size that there can be 2 county seats available. If you choose to appoint county members, one must be a county member, one must be a county resident that owns a business in the city limits.
But otherwise, there's no requirement for EDC members to be business owners at all.
Not at all.
Okay. Any clarification, thanks.
Lynn.
Yeah, I move to appoint Rhonda Carell to the EDC as the county representative.
A second.
And Lynn seconds.
I didn't hear the name, I'm sorry, I missed it.
Rhonda Carell.
Rhonda?
Laura Carell.
Rhonda.
Did we not have any of these people withdraw their applications? Because I received email responses that indicated that. Nobody withdrew their application.
Not
Okay.
that I know
heard
of.
from 2 people that,
Art?
nobody? Okay,
Not to
okay,
my knowledge.
No,
Okay.
I don't know anybody withdrew.
okay,
Deanna?
I
haven't gotten
any.
Yeah, so.
Okay,
I saw something on that, and then when I asked, I was told that that did not happen, so.
okay.
Okay, I have a motion second for Laura Correll. Any discussion? Yes, sir. Rhonda, I'm sorry.
I just want to say, I know Mr. Gibson, and I'm sure he would do a good job on there. I know he's involved in a lot of things, but I just thought we have some fresh blood in the mix, so just wanted to point that.
I'm just gonna go ahead and share, this from Rhonda. I mean, I don't wanna read this lengthy email, but she's telling, her response to me was that she feels like there are more qualified applicants to the appointment in the 2 available seats. She plans on attending more meetings, to become more familiar and apply again in the future. So.
But that was never brought to the city or the EDC, so.
Right, I'm just sharing an email response that, because I reached out to all of the applicants, not just the 3.
When was that email?
This was May 20th. What's today? 23rd?
Well, she might have felt discouraged because she wasn't recommended by the EDC to council for appointment.
This is
I
true.
don't know, it might have just been one of those things, but. So, again, we have a motion by Glenn and a second by Lynn for Rhonda Correll, and I agree with Glenn in that we need some new blood, but if we appoint her and then we reach out to her and she declines the appointment, then we can come back the next meeting and move on to another county resident, if that suits council.
Can I ask Laura a question? Have you talked to her about whether she was still interested?
I have not. Wait, we've got a quorum in here.
No,
Andrew,
never mind.
let's start now.
I withdraw the question.
I'm sorry. I just realized that. I think
Well, it
the
doesn't have
assumption
anything
that
to do with the future
Suzanne
EDC
made is she
decision.
kind of felt that she wants to be involved, but she did seem to think that maybe there were more qualified applicants. I can
It's
go
still
give her a
doesn't
call
have
if
to
you
do with
want,
the future
and
decision.
see if she
This
answers
is a
it.
council decision.
I think she would be willing to serve if
Okay, thank you. Glenn has the floor, Laura.
I could withdraw my nomination and,
Okay.
get more information and then bring it up, that one seat on the next, at the next meeting.
Yeah, there's nothing that says we have to appoint all 3 members tonight. We could appoint 2 tonight and come back for the 3rd. So if that's what the council agrees to do, let's do that. You want to make a motion to?
I would,
Amend your
Rescind.
motion to.
rescind my motion.
And then I need a motion to,
Well, before we move on, can we just hear a little bit more from Art on, the EDC's discussion around this seat? I'm just curious to know what factors were weighed in their recommendation. Art, is that possible?
Well, Deanna, do you, I don't have a copy
I'd
of
be
the
happy
minutes.
to.
I don't have,
Oh,
yeah,
thanks.
yeah, I didn't vote on it and wasn't really a big part of the discussion, so.
okay.
Part of the factor was the overall mix of the board, and we're losing 2 people who are heavily involved in the community, and Cindy Beckham and Patricia Moore. So that's why we strongly felt of reappointing Laura and bringing Tony back, because that would give us more experience. And then because Andrea is the only current business owner on the board, we were interested in bringing in another business owner. And we were very impressed with all of the applicants. We leaned more toward Sid because he has experience not just in running a business, in being a recipient of EDC grants, construction background, and a wealth of knowledge. And we thought that that would be a good addition. But we also very impressed with Rhonda Correll, the sense of here's a business owner, but here's also a new blood and getting somebody else involved in the community. And so I think they both be excellent choices.
Thank you. Then, as it sits right now, we have 2 seats filled. The third seat is a business owner in the county. If you would rather have any other nomination for that third seat, or do you want to, what do you want to do with it, guys?
Well, we had a first and a second on Rhonda, can't we
He
put that
withdrew
to
the
a vote?
motion.
Okay. Very well. He withdrew it based on an email that was sent to one city council member.
He can withdraw it
Regardless of
because
why.
he doesn't like the fact that that flag is white. He doesn't have to have a reason to withdraw it.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, somebody say something.
Well, I move that we postpone the third, appointment till after council gets feedback from the applicants, let's say.
Perfect.
If you guys would all reach out to these folks and get some input from them, that would be great and helpful. I know I did.
Thank you. Glenn?
Yeah, I'll second that motion
Second.
and ask that
Okay.
we request that they come to the meeting.
So as I understand it, we're going to go ahead and confirm the appointments of Tony and Laura Davenport this evening. We'll leave the third seat open until more information is gathered for council. Is that correct? Glenn?
Yeah, but it needs to be understood that, I mean, this is an open seat, and anyone from the city or anywhere else can still, you know, step forward. But
That's why I left it like that, the third seat.
No,
is
we're not
left
taking any
applicant.
more
No
applications.
I thought the deadline was already
Yeah.
Deadline's
over
passed.
for the
Well,
application.
we don't need any more applications. We have 7 of them. And it doesn't have to be a county resident. It doesn't have to be a business owner.
It has to be someone who's already applied and met the deadline,
It
though.
has to be one of these
Yeah.
people
Correct.
right here.
Right.
Any further discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Okay. Then we will postpone that amendment, that resolution, unless council you think we want to.
Oh, no,
We have a resolution to appoint these people to EDC.
and the motion was to confirm the appointment of the 2 and just postpone the third.
Right.
So the
So now
resolution
we
would be
shall-
necessary.
Have a motion to approve the resolution.
Okay.
Well, the resolution's changed though, right?
No,
Doesn't name any names.
it's not changed at all because your council members are listed on Exhibit A.
Okay, may I make a motion?
You may.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2019-017, establishing, the persons to serve as directors to the Bandera EDC, being Tony Kuntz and Laura Davenport.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Glenn seconds. Second. Everybody second. Any more discussion about this resolution? Is everybody clear on what we're doing? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Thank you. Okay, item F, discussion and possible action to authorize the mayor and city administrator to execute an extension of the term of the existing 380 agreement between the city and Main Street Shops and Malls for a period not to exceed 1 year.
so moved.
William, for a second, discussion? Yes,
I just want to make sure that, and I don't even know if this, I can even discuss this, but the wood that's been exposed on that property for the last 6 months to all of the weather,
that has
our
nothing to do
inspector
with,
will take care of
has
that,
nothing to
right?
do with the extension of the 380.
Okay.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second, and discussion that is pertaining to the 380. All in favor? All in favor. All right. Item G, approve the moving the meeting on July 4, 2019, and July 18 to July 11 and July 25th, 2019. July 4th weekend. So, what do you think?
So moved.
I'll make the motion, and second. Any discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Okay, Item A is request by council to place items on a future agenda. Anybody got anything coming up that they wanna look at? Staff? Nobody? Okay. Item B, announcements by council.
This one was on the bulletin board for the Sandage Park, and the Buddy's Waterwell Service is doing it in Kiwanis of Bandera. They're selling 50/50, and it's to raise funds for Sandage Park. That's gonna be on, June 5th. It's like the end of the school party.
Last day of school.
Yeah, from 4 to 7 at Sandage Park.
I'm glad to see that they're reaching out to the community and getting community participation. Jill?
I don't know if you've checked your boxes, but I put an invitation in there for, y'all or anyone else. Brian Cummings is retiring after 36 years. His party celebration is gonna be Thursday at the City Park Pavilion 2. We have, most of the staff has volunteered to bring different dishes. We have 2 briskets that Public Works are gonna cook, and, if you guys can make it, that would be appreciative, just to kind of show Brian the support for giving 36 years of dedication to the city. Jay announced it last night at the, what is that meeting you had here?
TWA.
The TWA meeting, so I know we have at least 6 people from there coming from other cities, Fredericksburg, Kerrville, places like that, so, if anybody can make it, that'd be great.
Thank you.
4:30. Thursday, next Thursday at 4:30.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Disappointed that Patricia left because she knows all this stuff better than I do, but this weekend we have the parade coming up. We got the pro rodeo going on as well, is that right? No dates and times for that?
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Saturday at 11.
is
The rodeo is, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon.
Looking at our audience, I think everybody.
Anything else?
Yes, Jay.
The park revenue is starting to look a lot better. We're getting more people in there. Last Saturday was nothing because of a little bit of rain. Sunday was a big hit, about $2,000. And if I remember right, we had more residents show up last Sunday also. I think there was like 20, 21 that showed up. So it's starting to look a little better.
Thank you. Any other things from council? You have a motion to adjourn? Lynn makes a motion to adjourn. Right, Rebecca, and Dan, everybody. Discussion?
Have to look at our paper.
23. Yeah.